Okay, so let's hop into the ingredients for our turkey stock. So for my meat, I'm going to be using turkey wings and a couple turkey necks. Now these have already been washed and they have been patted dry, and I'll talk to you in just a second about the preparation I'm going to use for those. To your stock, when it's time to make it, we are going to be using a whole onion, some fresh thyme, 2 carrots, 2 stalks of celery. Even though I'm using this onion, I had some green onion in there. That's my oven going off because we're getting ready to roast off these the turkey. I have some green onion, so I'm going to use that. And then I have 2 cloves of garlic. I know I'm gonna use 1 clove. I'll let you know if I'm gonna use the other one. I think I'm only gonna use 1 clove. Just make sure to check the description bar. I also have bay leaves, and for this you're going to need actual peppercorns, because we're going to have to strain it, and this makes it easier to get it out of there. You're gonna need some salt, but we're not going to use this salt until the end. And then I'm going to be using a little bit of the Chef Paul Prudhomme's Poultry Magic, and I'm just using that while I get ready to roast off the turkey. I just can't put meat in the oven without doing a little something to it, so that's what that is. And then in this spray bottle is some olive oil. I'm going to spray the turkey down. So we're going to get all of this moved out of the way and then start preparing our turkey to be roasted. So let's start dealing with the turkey. The first thing I'm going to do, I did pat this dry, so I'm going to lay it in my pan. Then I'm just gonna lay the necks over here. Alright, I'm gonna go wash my hands off so we can start handling the seasoning process. Alright, so for the turkey, the first thing I'm gonna do is spray the turkey down with some oil, and this is just gonna help the browning process. I'm gonna link this little container. Down in the description bar. I really like this for when I'm using my air fryer, is when I use it most of the time. And it stops me from having to really touch the meat and rub it down, because I can just spray it down. Alright, so now we're going to go in with some of our Poultry Magic. And if you don't have this one, you can use just regular poultry seasoning, but this one is really, really good. I'll also link the Chef Paul Prudhomme's in the description bar for you. Alright, so now we're going to flip these over, and we're not trying to season them to necessarily eat them. They're working as the base for our stock. Now, if you already had done a whole turkey, you could use the turkey carcass as the base for your stock, but I don't have a whole turkey done, so I'm using the turkey wings. Alright, so on this side, we're gonna go ahead and spray it down. And then we're gonna hit it with some Poultry Magic again. Now the oven is set at 400. We're going to roast these for about an hour. And we're not roasting them till they're tender, because after they're done, we are going to boil them as well. But I want to get, you're gonna see a rich brown crust start to form here. And we're going to use that because that helps impart your stock with a lot of flavor. So now let's head over to the oven and get these put in. And you're gonna put these in uncovered. Again, the oven is on 400 degrees, and we're gonna roast them for an hour, and we're going to flip them over at the 30-minute mark. Now we're gonna go ahead and start getting our vegetables done. You don't have to peel these carrots. I'm just going to cut the ends off of them. And then I'm just gonna cut them in half. You really don't have to do this. These are just really fat. And so I'm gonna cut them in half. All right. And then I'm just going to cut them in like thirds. We just want the flavor out of this, so it doesn't have to be really, really pretty. And I'm just gonna put it right here in this bowl. I'm just getting these things together while the turkey is roasting in the oven. All right, so next up, we have 2 stalks of celery, and all of this has been rinsed already, so I did it before I came on. You don't have to cut these down. I'm just going to do just like I did with the carrots. The green onions, I'm going to cut just the little tips off of them. And this is going to be the stock that I'm actually going to use this stock to make my Thanksgiving dressing, and then I'm going to show you how to make 2 different kinds of gravy. I'm going to show you how to make a brown gravy with the turkey stock that you can use on like your mashed potatoes, and then I'm going to show you how to make some giblet gravy with this turkey stock, and that was a request from a subscriber. So be sure to check those 3 videos out. All of this stuff should be loaded on the exact same day. Now we're going to cut our onion. And honestly, because we're straining this, you could use peel and all, but I am still going to peel the onion. But really, it wouldn't hurt anything if you put a little peel in there. All right, so for these, just gonna hit them. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be small. Again, we just want the flavor out of them. All right. So this is some fresh thyme that I've already I washed and had put in the refrigerator from when I made my green seasoning. I'm just gonna take a handful of that. Let's see. 1 sprig, 2 sprigs, 3 sprigs. We'll call it at 3. No, we won't. 4. 4 sprigs of thyme. All right, so now let's work with our garlic. And y'all know very rarely do I use fresh garlic. So that lets you know that fresh garlic is really important to your stock. So you see me spending that time today using the fresh garlic. And I'm only gonna use this 1 clove. So, well, this 1 bulb. I'm only gonna use 1 bulb, and I'll let you know how many cloves I end up using. We don't want it too garlicky. So let's call it, let's see. We'll call it right here. Now this is what I hate about garlic. I hate having to get this second peel off. But what you do is you take your knife and you hit it like that. And that makes it come right out of the rest of that peel. Me personally, I just think minced garlic is easier, but for this recipe, it is a necessity. So, you know, I do what I gotta do for my YouTube peeps. But I don't think this gonna be no habit, y'all. Alright, so I'm gonna finish peeling the garlic, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. Alright, so we're 30 minutes in. It's time to check our turkey parts. So I'm just gonna pull it out. Alright, and they are starting to get some color on there. They're not, you know, exactly where I want them yet. We may roast them a little longer. I'll let you know, but this is the 30-minute mark, and I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna flip them. Now y'all see why I got this big old pan, because with the wings on here, they are they're huge. Alright, and so we're gonna go another 30 minutes and check them in 30. So here we are, and I can show you what I want out of here. And these are kind of nice and roasted, but they made like these brown pieces. And I'm gonna show you how I'm going to get this stuff out of there. But first, we're going to start putting our ingredients in our pot. So I zoomed out so you can really see what we have going on here. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is put my turkey wings in the pot. So I'm putting the turkey wings and the turkey necks, and look how that roasted. Like, that is absolutely beautiful. And I know this little piece is done, so I can taste it. But that is beautiful. Alright. So for this little bit, I'm going to put some water, some hot water in there. And then I'm just going to start scraping it. Like so. Alright, and don't worry about the oil. We will drain the oil off, but you don't want to leave this. This is all flavor. So here are those garlic cloves that I was smashing up. I'm gonna go ahead and drop those in. I used about 6. Alright, I'm gonna put my thyme in last. So now this is everything that these are all those ingredients that we prepared earlier. We're just gonna dump them. Alright. Now let's take our thyme. We're gonna put that on the top. We're gonna go in with about 3 bay leaves. Whoa. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3. We'll go 4 for good measure. And even though this is turkey stock, you can do this with chicken. You can do this with just vegetables. This is a good base stock recipe that you can use for just about anything. Alright, so now we're gonna go in with some whole peppercorns. And you want whole because when I use that strainer, I can get them out of there. So I'm just gonna sprinkle, that's probably about a teaspoon or so. Because you want flavor imparted into this stock, but you want to be careful because the stock is just like a base for what you're doing. You're gonna add in flavors as you use your stock. So you don't want your stock too salty. You don't want it too spicy. You don't really want it too anything. You want it full of flavor, but not too salty or not too spicy. So I have some water in the microwave to make it really, really hot to get this up out of there. And then we'll move over to the stove. Boy, y'all, that garlic is singing. So I'm taking some really hot water and I'm gonna pour it in the bottom of this. Now I started to put this on the stove. You know what? I'm gonna do something. If you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it. But I'm going to take this hot water and I'm going to sit this pan on the stove so we can scrape this stuff up. So this is really hot water and I'm gonna turn it on medium heat for just a minute. And then we're gonna take a wooden spoon and just get all of this flavor up out of there. I wouldn't actually cook anything like this, but just for what we're doing right now, it's perfectly safe. Now, if you have a gas stove, I don't know. I don't know. So that's all we really want to do. Make sure we scrape it all up. And it didn't really stick because of the oil, so we're good. All right. Now we're gonna move this. And I'm gonna bring my pot over. And I'm gonna take this liquid and pour it into my pot. And then we're gonna fill up our pan again. And I'm just gonna fill it up and try to get everything out. But we are going to fill this pot up almost to this, to probably about 1 inch from the top. All right, y'all, so now we have everything in here. We are going to cover it and bring it to a boil. Now this is going to boil for probably about 1.5 hours. I'll look at it and see at the 1.5 hour mark. Because what I really want to start happening is I want the bones, I want the meat to start cooking off of the bones, and I want the bones of especially those turkey wings to start breaking down. And the reason why you want that is because it's going to release some collagen. And as it releases that collagen, that's what makes your stock get like a jelly. It gets real jelly-like. It's because the bones released that collagen. So we're going to boil it until that happens. So I'll be back to check on this at the 1.5 hour mark. And then I'll let you know when I take it out. Okay, so this has been on the stove for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. So I'm gonna take a look at it. And as you can see, the amount of water has considerably cooked down. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take it off, and you can see that rich color that it already has. That clear water has turned nice and brown. This is going to be delicious in the dressing. So now we're going to go over to the sink, and we're going to put it in a colander first to get the big bits out, and then I'm gonna run it through a strainer. So you want to make sure that you have your colander in a bowl before you do this, because nothing would be worse than pouring that beautiful stock down the drain. So now I'm just gonna take it. And pour everything in there. All right. Okay. So now I'm gonna pick up the colander, kind of let it drain. All right, and so now I'm gonna sit the colander back over the boiler so it can, you know, catch any bits that are dripping. Now, we have most of the large bits out, but we're going to run it through the strainer and get any little bitty bits out. I really don't think there's much in here because my colander has really small holes. But, you know, just to err on the side of caution, we are going to run it through the strainer. Alright, and so now we're going to strain this and catch any little residual pieces. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why you strain, because you're catching all of that little stuff. Alright. Now, this is your final product. Now, it is extremely hot. It's still really hot. So what you want to do, you want to do this for a minimum of about 3 hours, but I'm going to actually do it overnight. So I'm about to sit this in the refrigerator. It will stay there overnight and cool down. And then in the morning, we'll skim all of the oil off the top, and I'll show you the final product for the broth, and we'll get ready to make our regular turkey gravy. And then after that, I'll show you how to do the giblet gravy. So we're gonna put this in the refrigerator overnight, and I'll be back in the morning. All right, guys, it has been overnight, and if you're pressed for time today, you can do this for about 5 hours and you'll be fine. But the reason why you need to refrigerate it, unless you have one of those oil separators, they make these measuring cups that separate the oil. I'm gonna need to get me one. But if you don't have that, then you can do it this way. So what I'm going to do, this layer, that's a solid layer on top, I'm going to take my spoon and basically pull it off. So I'm just gonna roll it back. And it's solid because it's oil, and you don't want that in your gravy. All right. So we pull that off, and then you are left with this beautiful, beautiful gelatinous broth. Now, if you look in the bowl, this jelly-like substance, that is because we cooked the collagen out of the bones. So this is very, very rich. So the way that I store mine, I'm going to be storing mine for the next day or so in mason jars. These are pint-sized mason jars. And it's one of the easiest ways to store broth, if you ask me. But if you want to keep it for a longer period of time, then you can definitely put it in like Ziploc bags or freeze it in ice cubes. People do that all the time. But this would make delicious soup. So I'm gonna go ahead, get it put in the jars, and I'm not gonna overtalk this. Now, if you want to see how to make gravy, I'm gonna show you how to make gravy 2 times. We're gonna make a traditional brown gravy that you can use on your mashed potatoes tomorrow. And then we're also going to make a giblet gravy. So that's what this is going to be used for. So if you wanna learn how to do that, then make sure you check out the next 2 videos. As always, guys, if you learned anything from this video, if you like this video, make sure that you like it, because that's a free way to support this channel. It just lets YouTube know that you like the content that I'm putting out over here. Also, make sure you share this video with your friends. And then if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting on? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you'll never miss when I upload a video. So until next time, bye neighbors.